I'd like to sort of read him his fortune a little bit and give him a few pointers, because he's sadly lacking in a little bit of guidance, I'm afraid.
What would you tell him?
Well, I'd like to tell him his mistakes, but there again, that's easy, isn't it? They've happened now. But no, I'd just like to say to him, Christ's sake, mate, it's not your fault that they've taken away your job, and now they're complaining you can't pay for this and you can't pay for that. Not your fault they've taken it away. You were a idiot for doing what you did, and you was a bigger fool to go back out to America and see Epstein the second time if you hadn't have gone out there and just phoned him up and said, look, mate, we were good friends, but I'm going to give you the old Spanish and you're going. That would have been good. But I just feel he needs a bit of guidance, the boy.
Well, maybe he watches the show and
maybe
he can come out the gates at Royal Lodge and say, Jim, come in here, let's have a beer and you can tell me where I've gone wrong.
I was the first one ever to photograph him playing golf. And that was in Scotland, at Ballata Golf Course. And he was nothing other than very good to us. A colleague and I, we were photographing him from the footpath behind the bushes, as we normally do. And he's sent his protection officer over. Please, will you get the people out the bushes, but tell them to come and walk with me. And they can do as many pictures as they like in the ordinary way you would expect if you were on a golf course. And, you know, as I say, we walked round with him for about 10 hours. In the end, we got fed up with taking pictures, quite honestly. We had to make our excuses and leave and meet him back at the 18th when he finished and shook hands with the club captain. But, you know, I've always found him fine. People have said he's very arrogant. Obviously, he must be, because some of the silly things that he's done. But on the day that the story broke about the problems that he had with Epstein and co, him and Fergie, we were at Royal Lodge, and him and Fergie actually sent somebody down with loads of flasks of coffee, loads of biscuits for the press that were standing outside. So it's not all that bad.
He didn't stop taking pictures though, did he?
No. And we've done loads of pictures of him out riding. He never complains. He never complains about any pictures that he's had done. I've never had one complaint from Prince Andrew at all. All the pictures that I've done in the last probably 4 or 5 years.
One of the questions that I think people will, I think one of the questions that everybody will always ask you is, obviously you sell the pictures. So what has been the most expensive picture that you've sold, or what picture have you made the most money of over?
Probably 2 pictures.
Yeah.
The picture of Charles and Camilla together. The main picture you always see is a picture of them signing it by a tree.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's not mine.
Yeah.
I did the picture of them at Burke Hall, where it was a funny old story, really, because I was actually in a position where I could see the front door of Burke Hall, and I saw Parker Bowles and Camilla turn up.
You mean Andrew Parker Bowles?
Andrew Parker
husband
Bowles
at the time.
And Camilla turn up in a car, right from the airport, chauffeur driven. I see them get out of the car. They went into Burke Hall. Literally 10 minutes later, Charles's Range Rover pulled up outside. Out came Camilla. Out came Prince Charles. Picnic hampers, blankets were all put in the back of this Range Rover. She got in the front seat. Charles got in the driving seat on their own and disappeared. And I thought, that ain't right. That's a bit odd. You know what I mean? Her husband's in there somewhere. And literally within half an hour, another Range Rover pulled up with fishing rods on the top, a ghillie driving. Out come Andrew Parker Bowles, got in the front seat, and off they went fishing.
Sorry, Andrew went off without Camilla.
Yeah.
Charles went off somewhere. I mean, you could write your own story about that.
Absolutely.
What was the story then? That must have been in all the papers.
Again, it was it was the start of, I think it was the start of the rot where it actually became known that they were an item. And to a certain extent, that's how it was written.
Yeah.
Because in them days, as I say, it's not like today.
Well, let's talk a bit about today, because we've got, some of the younger royals. Well, not the younger royals anymore, but there's the younger royals get older, like the current Princess of Wales. Kate, obviously, she hasn't been seen very often recently because of her cancer struggle. She's done a couple of videos. She's appeared at Trooping the Colour. But I do remember that you did get quite a famous picture of the Princess of Wales recently. Could you talk us through?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, we were actually, my colleague Kelvin and I were sent down to Windsor purely to get an early picture of William going to Westminster Abbey. And the online wanted pictures early. So we went down there and we tried to get a picture, and we were struggling a little bit, to be fair, because the outriders wasn't where we expected them to be, and there was a lot of confusion. But as we were driving back to check out something again, literally we see an outrider pull up at a road at Datchet. Fortunately, Kelvin was driving. I was in the passenger seat. I jumped out the car, literally as this car come round the corner, and I'd done pictures. And we thought, he said, "Have you got William?" And I said, "Yeah, great, William, got William, fine." So we disappear off to the cafe, which is our want, to sit down, and we start looking at the pictures. And then Kelvin says, "Hold on, there's somebody sitting next to him." So we lighten the picture a little bit in Photoshop. Don't affect it, just lighten it. And sure enough, he said, I'm pretty sure it's her. And I went, "Can't be." What? So we then alert the office to let them know that she may be going to Westminster Abbey, because nobody knew to the extent of how ill she was. And I think we sent a picture to you to confirm it.
You did, and I think the agreement was with the palace was, well, she was with Prince William on an official, William was going to an official event, so those pictures were able to be used. But there was a lot of conspiracy theories about
Absolutely.
Wasn't there? I think there was some internet sleuths went online, and I think they tried to work out it wasn't actually taken where it was meant to have taken and stuff like that. What do you think about people accusing you of stuff?
It was quite funny, because I'd never been on that end of it before. It was quite funny. I kept getting emails from these people saying, "You're a fraud, you're a cheat, you photoshopped her into the picture, we've worked out the bricks in the wall," and so on and so forth. And one particular person was very persistent. It wasn't made me life a misery, because it don't affect me. But I sent him back an email. I said, "Look, thank you very much for all your interest in this, but will you please keep it going? Because the more you're keeping it going, the more the picture's selling. And it's doing rather well at the moment." And fortunately, I never heard any more from the blokes. So that was it.
Do you ever feel bad towards to the royals? Do you ever feel that you're too intrusive, or that you've done something that you shouldn't have done, or anything like that, or overall?
No. In the early days, as I said right at the very beginning, I have a certain amount of feeling, and if I don't like it, I feel uncomfortable, then I don't do it.
Right.
It's as simple as that. In this day now, it doesn't make any difference, because you can't do it. You don't even have that choice.
The rules have massively changed.
Absolutely massively changed.